Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Diego Castro. The Maritime Industry Authority or Marina says companies can take legal action against lawyers engaged in ambulance chasing. Marina says ambulance chasing among lawyers or the practice of seeking monetary damages even for minor injuries incurred on the job has led to discrimination against Filipino seafarers. This as the practice has led to a decrease in Filipinos being hired by maritime employers as well as a risk of not being able to board shipping vessels in the next 10 years altogether. To help curb the practice, Marina says maritime companies can pursue cases to discipline lawyers engaging in the practice. Marina says there is also a need for stricter implementation of the Seafarers Protection Act.
The government, the licensed mining agencies, and the ship owners have to work together and make huge efforts to curb the practice. Of course, the shipping companies or the maritime companies have a way on how to address this. They can file administrative cases with the Supreme Court or the Integrated Bar of the Philippines to address the matter and to do so that the IBP can discipline the lawyers or their agents that are engaged in such practice.
The Department of Migrant Workers vows justice for OFW Julie Ranara, whose body was burned and left in a desert in Kuwait. Mayan Los Baños with a report.
Burned and left for dead in the desert. This was the brutal fate of Julie Ranara, an OFW in Kuwait. With yet another tragic incident involving an OFW, Migrant Workers Secretary Toots Ople personally visited Julie B's family. Ople says she will see to it that justice will be served.
We condemn in the harshest words possible the commitment of this crime. Ayon sa nanay ni Julie B, yung anak niya napilitan mag-abroad para matulungan yung kanyang magulang, and also dahil maliliit pa yung mga bata. Ulirang anak, ulirang nanay, si Julie B.
Based on the preliminary investigation, the 17-year-old son of Julie B's employer is the suspect behind her brutal killing. However, authorities are still investigating the motive behind the murder. The family has since requested for privacy as they grieve their loss.
Ayaw namin mag-speculate at ang pakiusap din ng pamilya, sana galangin yung dignidad at yung privacy ng pamilya at pati na ni Jubilee.
For now, the suspect has been taken into custody. The Philippine Embassy in Kuwait also said that a lawyer is now working on the case. The Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA is also working on bringing home the slain OFW's body. The government will also provide burial assistance, and scholarships will be given to Julie B's children. This is not the first time an OFW died of brutal causes in Kuwait. In 2018, OFW Joanna de Mafelis was beaten to death and hidden inside a freezer. In 2019, Filipino migrant worker Janeline Villavende was also beaten to death by her employer. With this, Migrante Philippines says it's time to review the memorandum signed by the Philippines and the Kuwaiti government.
Ito pong mga paglabag sa karapatan ng mga migrante natin, particular yung ating mga domestic workers sa Kuwait, ay hindi isolated. Marami talaga pong kaso ng abuso, maltrato at pambibiktima sa ating mga domestic workers ang naitatala dyan sa bansang Kuwait.
Despite the recent incident, the Department of Migrant Workers has no plans of suspending deployment to Kuwait. For now, the agency is pushing to have stricter screening for employers. Reporting for News 5, Mayan Los Baños, we are One News.
With this gruesome case, the Department of Migrant Workers is considering a review of the 2018 bilateral labor agreement with Kuwait. But for some senators, the Philippines could again suspend worker deployment to Kuwait. Labor Committee Chairman Senator Jingoy Estrada says the deployment ban to Kuwait must be reimposed due to numerous reports of extreme abuse of Filipino workers in the Gulf state. He says Ranara's death is proof that additional safeguards imposed for migrant workers still do not provide Filipinos enough protection. Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva also noted that the Senate should look into or study if a deployment ban would be needed.
Ako nanggigigil ako rito sa bansang Kuwait sapagkat sa dami kong nababalitaan and it is also recorded, marami na ho talagang pang-aabuso na ginagawa itong mga amo nitong ating mga OFWs. That's why I want to recommend to the Department of Migrant Workers to ban our OFWs from working in the state of Kuwait.
We will be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Philippine Ambassador to the U.S., Jose Manuel Romualdez, expresses concern over the recent mass shooting in California, which claimed the life of a Filipino. The victim was identified as Valentino Alvarez, 68 years old, who is a U.S. citizen of Filipino descent. At least 11 people were killed in the mass shooting that took place over the weekend as the city's Asian American community was holding Lunar New Year festivities. Police have yet to determine the killer's motive, but some reports suggested that it was compounded by Asian hate. Philippine Consulate General in Los Angeles continues to coordinate with U.S. authorities to get updates on the case.
We're really very concerned about it because hindi lang naman Pilipinong natatamaan, maraming namamatay na mga kaibigan ng mga ating mga kababayan rin. So we're really, you know, it's something that it can happen to anyone. You know, it's very unfortunate that it continues to happen in the United States. But I'm sure the authorities are doing whatever they can to prevent something like that too. But it's really very sad to hear this.
Dali De Leon is snubbed at this year's Oscars, which could have been a historic nod for a Filipino actor. Despite acclaim from critics and audiences, De Leon failed to make the Oscar nominations for Best Supporting Actress. Nominated instead were Angela Bassett, Hong Chau, Carrie Condon, and Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Su. Still, Triangle of Sadness, the film that earned her nominations from other award shows, made the running for Best Picture. De Leon has recently won the award for Best Female Actor in a supporting role at the Guild Badge Awards in Sweden, and she remains in the running for a British Academy Film Award under the same category. Here are other headlines we're keeping our eyes on. The Supreme Court announced that it has affirmed the conviction of a teacher who stuffed trash in the mouths of her students inside the classroom. The SC finds that teacher Melanie Garin guilty beyond reasonable doubt for child abuse and is sentenced to around 4 to 6 years in prison. Maynilad is set to settle over 27 million pesos in rebates to its clients affected by water service interruptions in southern Metro Manila. The amount was determined by the MWSS for customers within the Putatan Water Treatment Plant Supply Zone in Muntinlupa City. Newly crowned Miss Universe R. Bonnie Gabriel is getting busier as she begins her official duties as Miss U. With her tight schedule, R. Bonnie is still hoping to be able to squeeze in a trip to the Philippines. She's also hoping to meet fellow Miss Universe winners once she visits. And that's it for this hour. Join us again at 7:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register an account now at signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News, all sides, all the time.